All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have the first chapter of One Punch Man in the month of April. It's April 1st, and don't worry, I don't do April Fools or anything like that because I don't like lying to people or pulling pranks on people on those, so ain't none of that gonna be going on this channel today. But today, we have a brand new chapter of One Punch Man. Ogata, it is good to see you. Let's go ahead and get started, shall we? Yo, peoples, Kyushu92 here, and welcome back to more One Punch Man. Last we left out on, the Hero Association was being attacked by different types of monsters pretty much almost simultaneously. Well, actually, it wasn't just the Heroes Association that was being attacked by monsters, it was literally all over the city, and coincidentally, it wound up being monsters that were preoccupying many of the S rank heroes of the Hero Association. And we've already had this discussion where I genuinely think that McCoy is behind all of this in order to make the Hero Association look bad in the wake of Neo Heroes becoming more prominent. He's also the one who suggests that we should go ahead and join up with Neo Heroes. Ask them for help so we can cooperate with each other. Literally playing both sides, but literally in favor of Neo Heroes. So it's kind of suspicious. So now we have this one monster called Machine God Mirror that assaults the Hero Association base itself. And before it can start to, harm anyone, Suryu's sister comes in and basically just drop kicks it. So let's see what happens in Punch 225, Existential Threat. And we immediately continue with, what is her name, Suika? Suika landing after hitting this monster going,
"You're a monster, right? And I got here first, so let's rumble."
And then the monster speaks again, because remember, Machine God Mirror is looking for King. I am Machine God Mirror. Who are you? I have no data on you. Are you a new hero? I need no data on weaklings. Bring King to me, girl. And this upsets Suika, and she breathes in deeply and just rushes at Machine God. Then it cuts over to City N, where Tank Top Master is. And remember, he's also fighting a monster that is just filling the entire city with smoke. All you tank toppers out there, I leave the rest to you. Tank top, heavy breathing. Because mind you, he said he was going to inhale all this smoke in order to keep everyone else from, inhaling the smoke. But I'm like, you're purposefully going to be inhaling this stuff? And he starts breathing in every bit of smoke inside of the city. And he just starts inhaling it. And then the monster goes,
"What? My smoke!"
And while Tank Top Master is breathing this in, he manages to open his eyes and he sees Flashy Flash come in and with one swift kick with Wave Wind Blade Kick, cuts this monster in half. Flashy Flash! What are you? A vacuum pump? It's now easier to maneuver, though. Be careful! It creates smoke clones! And then Flashy Flash gets his sword out.
Ho ho! And my smoke is limitless!
And all we see is just this innumerable amount of slashes around Flashy Flash. Wow, okay, so he just pulled off a move that's what the Flash would do. You know how the Flash in DC Comics would spin his hands fast enough that he can create wind funnels just with his hands alone. He does that, but with his sword. So not only is it a whirling tornado on his arm, but it also has cutting power as well. And it's called Air-Splitting Scatter Flash Slash. And he catches this smoke monster in it, and it gets diced to pieces from this. This also reminds me of Ghost Rider from the first Ghost Rider movie, where he takes his chains and starts creating this tornado that burns one of the like a henchman of Blackheart in it, and it just singes him and burns him alive. It's literally like that, but Flashy Flash did it with like his sword. And of course the monster screams out in pain. And just pieces of the monster falls all around him.
An instant victory? Was he always this strong?
The secret ninja scroll left by the Great One was legit. I'm glad I retrieved it. So that was a skill from Empty Void that Flashy Flash just used. And now they're looking at the corpse of this monster, but it starts to pump out smoke.
Smoke is pouring from its corpse!
This town is lost. Expand the evacuation zone. Because it still shows that the city is still kind of covered in smoke. And now we cut to that Neo Heroes APC that Suryu is riding on. And while they're driving, remember, Suryu is in charge of trying to bring down Garo. He's thinking of Saitama as they're driving. And we cut to City P. We cut to City P where Terrible Tornado is. And this giant mass of bugs is surrounding her and all around her. And we zoom into what these bugs look like, and they're capable of literally dividing themselves and multiplying over and over and over again. It's like that one episode from The Amazing World of Gumball where it's like cutting to like different things around the town, and it's like bacteria. We begin with only one bacteria. Two is now what we become bacteria. Each of us become two more bacteria. We're stronger than before bacteria. It's just like they keep splitting up more and more and more. And she's looking, going,
They're continuously doubling in number. Not a problem.
And she starts using her powers to manipulate all of these bugs. And then she uses the same move she did at the Monster Association base, where she literally grabs them all and wrings them out like a towel and just crushes all of them.
Just bugs in the end.
But while she's doing that, an even greater horde of bugs comes shooting up out of the ground and out of almost every building in the city she's in a far greater number than where they were originally. So what we saw, and this is where the chapter ends, so it was like this chapter kind of breezed on through very quickly. But even more bugs come pouring out of the buildings in City P, much to her surprise. I was honestly expecting to see more Neo Heroes doing stuff, but we're actually cutting to the Heroes Association heroes doing stuff right now. Okay. Also, Holster, good to see you. But yeah, that's the end of the chapter. It was really just... And here I thought we were going to see more of Suika going up against Machine God Mirror, because he's looking for King, and then we just cut to the other S-rank heroes in the city. Tank Top Master breathes in all the smoke, well, as much as he can. Flashy Flash comes in and apparently cuts apart the monster, but the corpse continues to pump out smoke, so there's more to the smoke monster than I realized. This smoke monster reminds me of a Kodoka, and mind you, since I'm playing Neo 3, the Kodoka is a monster that breathes out smoke exactly like this thing. So it kind of reminds me of that. But then Flashy Flash just straight up dices its body to pieces inside of a cutting tornado, but smoke starts pouring out of its body, so there's probably more to this monster than anything else. And even Flashy Flash is all like, this town is lost, expand the evacuation zone. So, and it shows that the city is still covered in smoke, despite the fact that this monster has been destroyed. Suryu is traveling, more than likely to Garo's position, thinking about Saitama and how far the gap is between himself and Saitama in terms of strength. And then Terrible Tornado dealing with these constantly multiplying bugs. You know what would be horrifying? The fact that these bugs can just separate themselves repeatedly over and over and over again. I am so glad that no bug on this planet exists where all it needs to do is just literally separate itself in half, and then it becomes a whole different creature. I am so glad, and it's instantaneous. Let me say that it's instantaneous. I'm glad no such bug exists, because that would be horrifying for mosquitoes to constantly split into more, and then you have a horde of mosquitoes. And I'm like, nah, I'm good. And then Tornado just essentially crushes all of these bugs that are essentially around her into just crushes them instantly. But then even more bugs show up. So like you said, Kyushu, McCoy could be up to this, because there's no way this is a coincidence. So a monster that still creates smoke even after it's dead, and seemingly a monster that produces never-ending bugs. Like you said, McCoy could be up to this cause. There's no way this is a coincidence. Seems these monsters are being used to overtake the cities the S-class heroes are fighting in, rather than made to actually beat the S-class heroes. See, this is what I said. McCoy has done this to preoccupy the heroes and hope. I feel, and mind you, this is just my theory. This is just my hypothesis. McCoy is doing this to overwhelm the heroes with something to keep them busy, something to distract them, and allow for the Hero Association to either be weakened by way of some S ranks being injured, or even taken out of commission completely. This will serve Neo Heroes better, because if Neo Heroes comes in to help the Hero Association, then it will make Neo Heroes look better than the Heroes Association, simply because it will appear that the Heroes Association needed additional help from an outside source in order to do their job. And press-wise, this will look wonderful for Neo, because it'll make it seem like, wow, they have way stronger people on their side helping out the Hero Association. Maybe we need to be supporting them instead of the Heroes Association, because they needed help. It plays perfectly into the plan of dismantling the Heroes Association from not only within, but also without as well. Not only internally with its infrastructure, but outside in public opinion. Because public opinion truly does matter in this world of One Punch Man. And I see no better way to do that, to make your own organization look better, than to cause an incident or several incidents where the person or organization you're going up against is weakened by your efforts. And mind you, you're also still working with this organization, but you're undermining them all the same. And then saying and suggesting that they form up and cooperate with Neo Heroes, but all it's going to do is make it seem like the Hero Association is weak because they needed help. So seeing these heroes being tied up with these monsters, I feel it is a strategic distractionary tactic in order to keep the super powerful heroes from going anywhere. So they're going up against monsters that are made to prolong the fight. Not something where it's just going to destroy the city instantly. It's something to keep them preoccupied, hold their attention for a while. If I had to guess, I can see 3 routes this can go. The first one, and least likely one, is the Heroes Association is going to get flack for all the collateral damage they cause because of their fighting. I feel like the other option would be there's going to be a wild card that comes up and starts dismantling all these monsters and beating them all of a sudden. Or option 3 is they bend the knee and ask Neo Heroes for help. Neo Heroes helps them out, but also makes them look weak in comparison, so that the public eye favors Neo Heroes over the Heroes Association. And this has been the plan. Ever since I brought up that McCoy having knowledge of the Hero Association, and also his underground dealings of selling monsters to different organizations before we even got to, but it was a short while after the end of the Monster Association arc. Literally not too long after. This is when Psychos was still imprisoned before, the Akatsuki or Tsukuyomi tried to come and get her. I forget the organization's name. I think it's called Tsukuyomi. Before Tsukuyomi tried to take Psychos, McCoy was dealing in selling monsters underground to other places. Ever since then, and ever since we saw the formation of Neo Heroes, with McCoy saying like I'm doing all of this, gaining information from the Hero Association, and I'm going to undermine them from the inside and use all this information against them. You nailed the other two I was trying to type out of what I was thinking. Those two, I believe, are more likely things to happen. See, that's because the way McCoy, because it all stems from my mindset of what McCoy is doing in order to make it better for the Neo Heroes to get a jump on the Heroes Association, even more than what they already have. Promise of dental and life insurance and good benefits over the Heroes Association, good publicity, get some publicity, get some big names to suggest that Neo Heroes is better than the Heroes Association. And mind you, McCoy doesn't know or doesn't realize that Second Guard and Emperor are there to literally spy on them. Even Webby Gather has some inkling that someone's trying to get some information on them and purposefully looks at Emperor. But before that happens, Suryu stops the situation with his own antics. But some members of the Hero Association know that something's going on with Neo Heroes, so they're just literally there to be plants. They're not there because they want to be. They're there to see what's going on with Neo Heroes because they can't be trusted. There's something far worse going on with Neo Heroes, especially considering many of their members are made up of nefarious people, people with criminal histories, those that have entire cult followings, literal cult followings, in order to boost their numbers and cultural significance, and even big names that financially back them that literally lack any measure of physical capabilities to actually stand toe-to-toe with any S-rank heroes. Because when you see these people, they don't even have any rankings when you think about it. When you look at the Hero Association and you hear people like S ranks, you think cream of the crop, top of the top, best of the best heroes. Tank Top Master, Terrible Tornado, Flashy Flash, formerly Super Alloy Black Luster, Child Emperor. Saitama is above everyone else, but we're just going by rankings. When we go by that, we think, oh, these people are incredibly strong. However, Neo Heroes lacks such a thing. The only person that has been shown to be, worthy of their spot is Blue, Metal Bat, Emperor, Suryu. But mind you, I say worthy of their title of being very strong is just that they lack a ranking. Also, am I crazy? But why do I feel like McCoy's end goal isn't just toppling the Heroes Association and making Neo Heroes the best? Oh no, it is not the end goal. McCoy's got something else going on. Because I would not be surprised if Dr. Beaufoy has something going on along with McCoy. Because we haven't seen Beaufoy in a minute. Beaufoy has been quiet. And all we know is that Beaufoy has been trying to keep tabs on Saitama's power to understand why Saitama is so strong. Because out of everyone at the Hero Association, Flashy Flash, Beaufoy, there's very few people that truly realize that Saitama is beyond human recognition in terms of strength. So I wouldn't be surprised that Dr. Beaufoy is working in the background. Now, whether Dr. Beaufoy is also working alongside McCoy remains to be seen. But even after all of this, we still don't know if this is the end goal of what McCoy intends to do. Because I feel like him just working just to dismantle the Heroes Association is not the end of what he wants to do. So I agree with you completely there. There's something else far worse that McCoy has in mind. And mind you, I don't put him on the same level as the monsters from the Monster Association in terms of world domination and destroying the Hero Association. But I feel like something just as bad is in the works for McCoy. You want to know why? Because people like Destro and Eddieman exist. We don't know what's happened to the last two people, like the dude that had the augments. The dude that had the augments with the dreadlocks, who was analyzing both Destro and Eddieman and saw that they were 95 and 96, 95 and 94, or it was 95 and 96, 94 and 95% augmented, and was absolutely terrified when the both of them was taking both him and the dude with the boxing gloves down into like a lower area of Neo Heroes, and we've never seen them since. Also, Destro and Edaman picking up the bodies of Inferschnave and Zadats and taking them as well. I don't know why they're taking their bodies, but there's something far worse going on with McCoy and these two individuals that we have no idea about for Neo Heroes. Something that's happening underground. And the thing is, with Neo Heroes, McCoy is allowed to be just as nefarious as he wants to. So we don't even know what's happening underground. If underground at the Heroes Association, McCoy was dealing with selling monsters to other people. Who knows what worse stuff he's doing in the underground of Neo Heroes itself? I just hope McCoy's goals have nothing to do with God. Oh, that would be terrifying if McCoy was actually working. Was actually working to see if they could. That would actually be bad. Wouldn't it be bad if the whole storyline where, Empty Void was manipulated by God, and then they take that and use that for McCoy? You agree? And didn't Beaufoy help Neo Heroes with their suits? I believe he did. I hope his plans don't ever turn towards something with God if he ever finds out God actually exists. See, the thing is, McCoy strikes me as a methodical but also power-hungry individual. I want to say some semblance of Palpatine levels of patience and manipulation. Because if you think about it, McCoy is pulling off the same type plan that Palpatine did. Appeared like he's working with everyone and for the best of the Republic in front of everyone's eyes, but also doing shady dealings in the background that no one knows about, and playing pretty much both sides for his own benefit. To what angle, we don't truly know. We just know that this is just one aspect of it. But if McCoy has any indication towards, God in general, especially considering that the whole storyline of Empty Void using the abilities bestowed upon him to try and empower people so that he could use them against the God of One Piece. I mean, not One Piece, the God of One Punch Man. I shudder to think what McCoy is actually trying to do. Because think about this. If people like Edaman and Destro exist, and they're almost 100% augmented, what's to say that McCoy's end goal is to have is to truly have a 100% augmented individual who could be seen as the ultimate hero? And then we'll have this whole situation. Because here's one thing that comes to my mind, and I'm just brainstorming here. I'm just throwing this idea out there. What if Destro and Edaman were done in a pursuit to create a 100% fully augmented hero? And those two individuals were the closest that they could get to it. And McCoy are trying their best, is trying his best to get a 100% augmented person, completely modified and enhanced person, even capable of bestowing upon them powers. Essentially like trying to create a Sentry, if you will, from Marvel Comics, trying to create his own version of the Sentry, the most perfect hero. Then you wouldn't need the Heroes Association. You probably wouldn't even need all the people at Neo Heroes. What if this is all just a bid to create one of his personal superhero that is better than everyone else? What if all these fights that are happening with the S ranks is just a way for McCoy to gather more data on them, see how much they can take, and then use that information? Because remember, if Beaufoy is trying to get information on Saitama's powers, what's to say that Beaufoy isn't still getting data on the other heroes and putting them in these different scenarios to see how they can handle it and learning how to adapt to it? Because think about it. If they're using this as an opportunity to gauge how much the S ranks from the Heroes Association can take, then maybe they may try to ramp it up in the future to see how much they can handle before the S ranks start to break. And if they do that, think about them using Neo Heroes as a way of, well, we know the weakness of these monsters because we're the ones who sent them out against the S ranks. But in order to make ourselves look even better, in the face of total annihilation of the Heroes Association's S ranks, we know how to defeat these monsters. We're not going to tell them this information, though, but we're going to use it to our benefit so that when we save them from themselves, or we save them from these monsters, we look good in the eyes of everybody else. Because if the Heroes Association heroes get beat down more and more, and we know how to defeat these monsters but choose not to tell them, we look good in comparison, and therefore the world will want Neo Heroes more than the Hero Association. Especially if that individual got their own void to come along with them. Now, I'm not saying that they're going to be exactly like Sentry, but I mean like a hero created, like a person created to be the perfect superhero in general. And if anything, what's not to say that Bofoi is using the information of Saitama to aid in that respect? Because I'm just saying, there's no way you're going to introduce the concept of enhanced individuals like Destro and Ermin. There's no way you're going to give us the slight backstory of Webby Gather and find out that she went through copious amounts of experimentation, cyborg enhancements, even brain surgery to mentally unlock superpowers for herself. There is no way you're going to introduce all those concepts and it not have a part to play in the future. Us learning that copious amounts of experimental drugs were used, brain surgery that could have killed a normal person, augments to the human body to make the person's body beyond what is considered possible. What is not to say that someone, McCoy, is working towards to create the perfect enhanced individual to become the perfect hero, and using every bit of information he can get his hands on, from data from the Hero Association and time during Neo Heroes, to do that. What if the people wearing these battle suits are just to test out how effective they can be, and if people die in the process, oh well, but it's just a bit in order to see where they need to work on for future battle suits for whatever McCoy's doing. And I'm saying all of this is just conjecture. All of this is just assumption. I literally do not have a ton of evidence to fully 100% back this up. These are just assumptions that I have, but there's no way we're going to introduce enhanced individuals and then have Webby Gather's backstory. And then have McCoy being the one saying like, oh, we need to have Neo Heroes help us out. Go ahead and have them cooperate with us. Something, and then seeing Destro and Ermin traveling around collecting people for purposes unknown. There's something else going on. Way more than just McCoy trying to bring down the Hero Association just to prop up Neo. There's something even worse going on. And I think it all goes back to when those two other people who couldn't be leaders in Neo Heroes were taken away by Destro and Ermin, and we've never seen them since. Something about that does not set right with me, which means, and it goes back to what you guys have been saying, that there's something far darker that McCoy has in store for basically everybody. But that's what I'm saying. Anything perfect is terrifying and 100% bound to either fail in the end or more likely horribly backfire. Reminds of Mayuri's, not Sayuri's, but Mayuri's speech to Sayapolo Granz about Sayalapolo about perfection. You're right. Because but we all know McCoy's plans is going to fail, but I fear what will be unleashed with his plan. That will probably more than likely have to involve Saitama, because if Saitama gets involved, then that means it's gotten to the point where no one else is going to be able to contain it, not even McCoy. That's the thing. And I'm glad you brought that up, Ogata. I feel like things are going to progress to the point where it becomes beyond McCoy's control, and that the only person who can bring things to a swift end is not a single one of these S-rank heroes. They can try, but it probably won't work. And the only one who can bring it to a swift end will be Saitama. I feel like the worst is probably going to be happening when right before Saitama gets involved. So what we're seeing now, I feel like it's going to get worse. Yeah, I feel like things are about to get way worse, and only when Saitama shows up is when things are going to be at their absolute worst. That's how I feel. Man, huh. Interesting. Very interesting. But yeah, I agree with the both of you. He reminds me of Daggett from The Dark Knight Rises, just power hungry, that thinks he's the main villain, and Bane's like, do you feel in charge? It's literally that. McCoy is going to be tapping into things that he is not ready for, thinking that he's going to be able to do whatever he wants, and it's not going to horribly backfire on him. So I think things are going to get so bad that McCoy will not be able to control it, and then either this very plan literally consumes him, not only figuratively, but literally as well, and that's when Saitama shows up. I would not be surprised. But I don't think we're at that point yet. I think we're still witnessing things going from bad to worse for the heroes in terms of like, oh, I thought we destroyed these creatures. Now even more of them are showing up out of everywhere. Tornado literally crushed all of those bugs that were flying in the middle of the city, and now an even greater tsunami of bugs comes bursting out of the ground and every building that she's near. So yeah, we are not at a point where things have gotten to flat out dire straits yet. It just makes me more curious as to what McCoy's plans are, because he never specifically said anything about it. After McCoy fails and his plan is stopped, I need that guy to give him a punch. Yes, and it doesn't even have to be Saitama. It can be someone else like Suryu. Because imagine how Suryu's going to feel if he finds out that McCoy sent all these monsters, including the one that his sister is fighting, towards that organization, and if anything happens to Suryu's sister, Suryu is going to beat him up. But we'll have to see. We'll have to see how things go. But that was today's chapter of One Punch Man, everybody. And since it's the 1st of April, who knows if we're going to get another chapter this month. We may not get one. We might get another one, like maybe near the middle of the month, but probably not one next week. I don't know, but I don't think we're going to get one next week. But overall, this leaves me with more questions. It makes me question McCoy's motives, because I honestly believe that he sent these monsters out to occupy these heroes. To thin out their ranks, to stretch them thin across multiple cities. Not only that, there isn't a single S-rank hero at the Heroes Association. Saitama's in the vicinity, but there's not a single S-rank there. It was... By the way, those last 3 episodes of JJK were pure cinema. I gotta check that out. Leorio punching Dean style, yeah. I still gotta watch the newest season of JJK. I haven't started yet. I just started watching Sentenced to be a Hero. I literally just started the first episode. I'm not even through the episode because I was messing with Cash on Borderlands and other things as well. But guys, I still got some other stuff that I need to catch up on and to get those other reactions for One Piece and out to you guys before this week is over. But this was an interesting chapter. I hope we get another chapter this month, because I want to know more about what's going on and what is truly the purpose of everything that's happening in each of these cities, because I think we can all agree McCoy has something to do with it. That should be stated as fact. I just want to say there's a strong possibility. Let me say that. Strong possibility that McCoy is involved. But I don't know. We'll have to find out later. Interesting. All right. That's it for my reaction to One Punch Man. I'll see you guys in the next thing that I do, because today is Wednesday and I got some things to do for myself. And I'll catch you guys tomorrow as we continue with more Hunter x Hunter. And then Friday, we have a member summit, and I believe we have a food heresy session as well. So, yeah, gonna be busy. One Piece anime is back this week, and the final episodes of Fire Force comes out this week too. Right, I forgot. One Piece anime comes back, and it goes from being weekly into a seasonal. So who knows how many episodes we are going to be getting within a singular month? Yeah, same, because some things unfolding that will have dire consequences. Exactly. So I'm actually really eager to find out what the next chapter of One Punch Man is actually going to bring. And maybe this will be introducing God's influence back in. Possibly. But I'm not going to hold my breath about it because we haven't seen that individual in quite some time. Not since the entire storyline has been We'll see. I'm done. Hope y'all enjoyed. Can't wait to see you all in my next video. Like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. Even check out my membership and Patreon because I am always looking forward to entertaining you. And because I know you're coming back anyway. Have a fantastic day, and once again, as always, later, peoples!